Magic. Hello and welcome back to the New Old Furry podcast. I'm Rick, and with me as always is everyone's favorite pariah, Kitthesoulless.
Hello.
Now, before we get into things today, let's go ahead and get this out of the way for once, actually on time, right after the intro. This podcast shows our views alone. Do not take this to be legal advice, and definitely do not listen to it if you are under the age of 18.
And this is where Rick forgot that we actually have that before the intro screen.
It doesn't matter, it makes me feel better, alright?
I'm aware. But the one thing that isn't mentioned on the intro screen is, yeah, this is not meant for minors. This is not meant for people under the age of 18 or the age of consent if your country is different than America. If you are a minor and you are watching, the door's over there. Get the fuck out, please.
I mean, I understand certain countries' age of consent is 21, but their drinking age is like 12, so I'm not sure where I would rather be.
There's another name for the one I'm thinking, because age of consent is, in some countries, the quote-unquote age of consent is not actually the age at which you can you can legally get yourself into, sexy time situations. It's the age that you can drink at. Typically, the first of those two are, there's another name for it. Kind
age
of like...
majority.
There we go. Kind of like in England, age of consent is 16, age of majority is 18.
And unfortunately, every furry in the audience, all somewhere between 5 and 600 of you guys, is going to groan because the only reason I know the term age of majority is because of CSI.
It's a term that should be known a hell of a lot more because there are a lot of countries that have it. Again, England is an example. Age of consent for them is 16. If you're 16 years old, you can technically legally get drunk within your parents' residence, but you're still technically not allowed to do other things.
You're right. I'm not going to comment on your strange choice, because when you're telling the kids to get out, you're telling them to fuck off. When you talk about sexy times, it's every word except for fuck. Not going to comment on that at all.
Well, I mean, would you rather me say that there's a strange set of rules per country on what age you can fuck at?
I mean, it's accurate.
It's accurate, but still. By the way, this part of the thing has been derailed. What is today's actual topic?
God, we actually have a topic today. Dear God, we're losing our edge. This is what, the third video in a row that we have a topic to go off of?
Second. Oh no, third, because RPGs.
It's third. Yeah.
And for those of you who are wondering, no, we don't mean rocket-propelled grenades. We mean role-playing games. Seriously, though, topic for this...
Well, you brought up rocket-propelled grenades, and con chairs the world over can tell you there's a reason it simply says, no weapons are allowed. Because they tried to make a list of what wasn't allowed, and someone showed up with a flamethrower.
Oh, no.
It's not on the list.
Oh...
So the topic for today is a discourse that has occurred recently, and I've seen it occur several places online. Most recently, it happened in Kit's Discord server. For the individual's privacy and the privacy of all involved, we will not be sharing names. However, we will be
telling y'all about what the fuck he said.
First and foremost, let us make our stances very clear. Kit, what is your idea about bringing weapons to a con?
If you feel like you might be in danger at a convention, do one of two things. Either don't go or bring a non-lethal, like, mace. if you believe that there is no fucking way for you to be safe with a non-lethal or less than lethal weapon like mace at a convention, and you believe that you need to bring a firearm or a knife, don't fucking go to the convention.
Guys, I love me a convention. I really do. I'm straight up going to say there is one convention that I went to that there is a very high probability I won't go to again because I was entirely out of my element. Nothing went right. A lot of things went wrong. It was a bad time. Never once in that entire time did I think, I really wish I had a gun right now. That would make me feel safe and secure.
Now I've got to ask, was this MFF or was this FC 2020?
I'm not going to lie. Much the same as we have saved individuals from your Discord the humiliation of naming, I will not name here.
Damn.
Because there was nothing. Both of those events had events happen at them that were less than stellar for me.
True.
None of it was the con's fault.
Oh god, yeah. It really never is. Unless, of course, you're doing something to piss the con chairs off, and then you're going to have a bad time, and it's technically the convention's fault, but that's mostly because staff are going to be following your ass around.
It's still not the convention's fault, because if you're being an ass, they are doing their due diligence to make sure you're not being an ass.
True.
It's your
At that
fault.
point, it is your fault, bitch. Oh, but seriously. We did have an issue in our Discord a little while back where an individual, by the way, I will not specify if they are male or female. If you are on our Discord, you probably know who this is, but I will default at this point to he, because that's the way my brain is working today, if I don't say they, so.
To be fair, I don't know what their actual gender is.
Neither do I, that's the thing, but for some reason today, a good example, like when I was role-playing a little while back with a couple of my old friends on a mush, I called a chick dude. Not a dude, I just kept calling her dude.
To be perfectly fair, you are from California. We've had this conversation before. All
I'm
things
well
are
aware.
dude.
All things are dude, but when you've got somebody there, and I find it hilarious, one of the people there was going, why do you keep calling her a dude? I'm not calling her a dude, I'm calling her dude. She was fine with it. The other dude who was there that was witnessing it was not. But, I digress. We had an individual talking about how he believed that a radical group of people within our furry community has been talking about bringing weapons and shooting people at conventions. I know of one small group that might be that stupid, because one individual in that group is that stupid. I'm not going to graft their stupidity onto everyone, but at the same time, I know of one small group of maybe 6 people that this might apply to. They were talking about how, because of this group, they wanted to sneak a gun in past con security.
It is at this point I feel I need to speak up to any people who are listening to this without having gone to a con. Cons are amazing. I believe everyone should go to one at least once in their life. It's an amazing atmosphere. Really cool to go there just for the experience. If you go there, figure it's not what you want to do, you don't have to go to another one. But go to a con. Doesn't have to be furry con. It could be an anime con. It could be a science fiction con, brony con, whatever you want. Actually, I think that one shut down, didn't it?
No, there's still brony cons.
No, I know there's brony cons, but brony con.
Oh yeah, no, BronyCon shut down. However, there is BabsCon.
Yeah, but anyway, go to the con. Convention. Find something you're interested in. Go to a convention for it. You'll meet people who are like-minded. You'll meet some excellent people that just make you feel so part of a community, and then you'll meet the people that make you understand why people hate your community. It's an experience.
I think in your case, I'm a little bit of from column A, a little column B.
Well, I said it to you earlier in a different call where I exist entirely just to spite you.
Eh. I mean, neither proven nor. Or neither proven false nor true, but still.
Anyway, going to a con, they don't pat you down. They don't search you. They don't invade your privacy because they are operating under the assumption, two assumptions as a matter of fact. Number one, you're a person who's going to be doing things that people do. And number two, you are going to abide by their code of conduct, which by purchasing your membership to that convention,
You have agreed to.
you have agreed to. I don't know of any con that does not have the line in their code of conduct that is no weapons.
There are
And
some
a
that
lot
go
of them,
even farther than that of saying no foam weapons. No
there's
fake
a
weapons.
lot.
No toy
Yep.
weapons. They don't
There's a
want
lot of them
guns or knives of any kind, even if they are just toys. Why the fuck would you want to bring a real one?
because it'll make people feel more secure. That
No, it fucking
this,
won't.
it really won't.
I'm sorry. I want to point this out. If I knew that a fucking fursuiter or an attendee was fucking strapped at a convention, I'd leave the convention. I do not feel
I wouldn't.
comfortable around somebody who I don't fucking know, who is armed with a lethal fucking weapon, who is probably paranoid enough that if you look at them wrong, they will pull it out and shoot you.
I wouldn't leave the convention if I found out someone there was strapped. I'd report it to security and possibly straight up the police.
Depends on if open or concealed carry is legal in your state. Police might not be able to get involved. Con security usually will. My point is, I'd definitely report that too.
I'd report it to security.
If security said, "Oh well," then I would leave.
See, at that point,
I don't want to be in that situation of there is somebody that is probably only strapped because they're paranoid as shit, walking around with a weapon that can theoretically, with one shot, kill multiple people.
if security told me, oh well, my immediate reaction would be to go and look at the code of conduct. At which point I would report that security member to the con chair, pointing out the no weapons allowed line. If there was no weapons allowed line, I would leave that fucking con.
I should also specify, when I say I would leave the con, I don't mean pack up and go home. I mean I would get the fuck out of the con space. A lot of people don't get this. If you go to a con, you don't necessarily have to be in con space the whole time. In my case, I would rather leave the area, go back to my room, call the fucking front desk, report it, call what have you. Essentially get myself as far the fuck away from them as possible before I start reporting shit. Because that's the other problem is you might offend the poor fool and they might get pissed and decide to, be a dick. At which point, if you retaliate or if you speak in a weird way to them, they might think that you're attacking them. By the way, this does not come from me being, paranoid that everyone's out to get me. No, this comes from the fact that I have been in situations where I have talked to people who believe that to be safe, they need a gun at things like a child's soccer match. Those people are not usually sane.
There's a point that we will, I'm sure, circle back around to of, well, a sane person with a gun will counteract a crazy person with a gun. If you believe going to a giant stuffed animal convention dictates you need a gun, I don't think you're sane.
If you're going into a situation where you're at a secure area, i.e. most convention centers, with their own security, con security, as well as police that usually have a response time of a couple minutes at worst.
Less than
Because
that at most locations, depending on
most
the
locations,
severity
I
of the
know,
call.
there have been situations at conventions where we've had to call the cops, or somebody near us has called the cops, and they've been in there within 40 seconds.
A lot of conventions have plainclothes police officers who are there as basically a liaison between con security and the public. Because
Exactly.
con security can deny entrance to the public to con space. Not all people respect the authority of con security, so they keep a cop wandering the halls and just kind of, yeah, we need him over here, or her, equal opportunity. And they show up and go, what's the problem? People
But,
respect cops as much as the modern discourse may say otherwise.
oh god, yeah. By the way, this is the point where I'm going to point out to Rick here that instead of doing titles for this one, we've literally already just had a thing down where the titles would normally be that says, "Don't bring guns to cons."
Please, I'm asking
Just
you,
really don't.
and I'm quite well aware at cons in certain states. There's generally like a firing range nearby
Yeah,
that will let you bring your own guns. If you bring your own weapon, you keep it stored up in your room, and then you take your gun and you take some friends and you go down to a firing range and you fire off a couple rounds and you get a hilarious video of a fursuiter with a fully automatic weapon firing down range.
that's perfectly
Fine.
fine. Don't bring the
I'll
fucking
totally
gun to
laugh
the
at
con
it.
space.
Your hotel room is not con space. An Uber is not con space. There's a lot of things here.
There's a time and a place where guns can be fun, they can be useful, and a convention is neither.
Just
Very specifically at a convention, in con space, neither.
correct. And going back to what you said earlier of certain cons do not allow you to have fake weapons. Some of them are very stringent on them. Some of them are a little looser where if you have a quote replica gun or an airsoft gun or something that has the bright orange tip and it's part of a costume,
Then they'll let you. Good
they'll
example,
let you.
the canine dog, the canine police.
Yes. Yes. The canine police, who I think are actually con security at some cons.
At some cons, yes, they are members of con security, but they're also, if they're in,
If they're in that costume, they aren't.
Yeah, no, if they're in costume, they're actually off duty.
The fact is, if something starts going down and they come up to you and say,
They still have the authorization of con
Yes.
security.
they can still go, all right, that's enough of this. Hey, you're coming with me over to security, or hey guys, calm down, chill out, knock it off.
Yeah. I shit you not, there have probably been a couple situations where they've escorted somebody away and everybody's just sitting there going, "Oh, you're getting arrested by the uwu police," not knowing that somebody was actually getting fucking brought to security.
It happens.
Yep. Oh. Back to this though, the individual from our Discord, with the thing that they did, the thing that pisses me off is they didn't do this in the adult section of our server. This was fully in the open for any minor to see in the server of, don't go to a convention without a gun. Here are ways you can hide it from security. For the record, this individual was promptly banned from our Discord. They will not be coming back. I've also done what I can to send their user information to as many groups for convention staff across the US that I can, because I know this person is in the US. I'm fairly certain that with the level of paranoia they have shown in our server, they're probably on a no-fly list.
And that is another thing. if any of you happen to be online in some dingy back alley of the internet and you see someone stating, "Oh, I'm going to bring my full arsenal to a furry con,"
Get the fuck out of there.
uh,
Or report it to the staff and get them the fuck out of there.
report it to the staff is what I was leaning towards,
Yeah.
because it has happened where people have made threats about, "I'm going to bring a gun to this convention over here."
Oh god, yeah.
And then the staff found out about it because, believe it or not, the staff prowls the internet as well. It is quite likely they will find it themselves. And if
Yeah.
you bring it to their attention earlier, they can act earlier.
It's like
They
the dude
have
that was threatening to bring ampules of essentially sarin gas to, what was it, BLFC 2019 or MFF 2019, one of the two?
I believe
I think it was BLFC because
I think it was BLFC had the threat of it, whereas
Yeah, no,
MFF
this
had
dude-
the unfortunate chlorine incident.
Yeah, no, that was 2014, not 2019. In 2019, somebody actually threatened with images of them holding the ampules to bring ampules of sarin gas to BLFC 2019 and break them in the
Air
the
conditioning
essentially
vents.
yeah, well, no, they were saying they're not just the vents, they were saying they were going to break them inside the main unit, essentially distributing it to everyone in the building, not just the con space.
If I recall correctly, that person is on a no-fly list now and was investigated by the FBI.
Not I believe it was more than just investigated. I'm fairly certain that dude is not around walking free anymore because simply the threat is a punishable offense.
And that's another thing. Here's another lesson for you kids out there. Don't go
stupid.
around
Sorry.
claiming you're going to do shit.
Yeah, seriously, don't.
It what's it going to achieve? It's either going to wind up with you arrested or you're going to be a laughing stock, one of the two, if not both. And you're probably not going to the convention.
Yeah. Anyways, going back to the topic of this idiot in our server. When they were addressed about this and asked why the hell they were talking about this, they claimed that they were doing their due diligence to inform the community. All you're doing is trying to scare everyone in my server. And then he started spouting off, well, there was this one individual who believed that they were that they had to bring a gun and that they were bringing guns to every convention they went to. That's why this individual no longer goes to conventions, first off. Or more rather, that's more than likely why this individual doesn't go to conventions, which is a moot point because this individual left our community in 2016. Hello, Dead Air?
I'm sorry, I'm processing that statement right there because it's.
He was talking about a guy who apparently was bringing guns to conventions between the time they left the community and essentially were, I believe it was due to their job, were not allowed to. They didn't just leave the community. They were, because of, I believe, their job, forced to remove all social media accounts permanently, or at least as long as they're employed. High-level military job.
I'd like to point out, as anyone in the Discord can attest to, my job requires me to have common sense about not posting shit.
Yeah.
I have a Facebook that I check once in a while. I mostly keep it open because certain friends of mine will use Messenger through Facebook to get in contact with me. I haven't posted to that Facebook in 3 years.
Another thing I want to point out about the individual we're talking about, they also made the comment that fat fursuits should have to be registered, checked, and inspected before every use. Because, quote, somebody can hollow out some of the foam and hide a weapon in it.
there's I th- this is another point that you and I will cover at a later date because it's something that I feel needs some discourse, but
Yeah.
this is not the time. That is, I will state this on I will say this about that. Stealing a line from a close personal friend of mine. The Fourth Amendment exists. This is strictly a US thing. Anyone who's listening from outside the country, what the Fourth Amendment is the right to privacy from the
Yep.
government. This claiming that a fursuit that is, quote, fat needs to be registered and checked. What is considered a fat fursuit at this point?
They were talking anything that involved foam other than the head, which actually would include all fat suits that are not inflatable suits but have padding around the abdomen, and all digi suits, as
All
well as
digi
all feral
suits,
suits.
all digi suits, all feral suits,
Any
any
suit
suit
with
that
boobs,
has foot paws.
any suit with foot paws, yeah.
It, oh, actually, any suit that has a non-resin base head.
No, no, they specifically were stating foam that did not involve the head.
I,
Yeah.
this is what I was saying. If you are this paranoid that you believe that the fat fursuiter is going to chase you down and gun you down, first and foremost, you have some trauma in your past. Go see a
Yes.
therapist.
Yes, please.
There's something not right there. Second off, what's to stop me from making a suit that has no foam in it whatsoever, resin-based head, wearing a trench coat? Everyone knows what the trench coat means because we live in America. Are they going to stop and pat me down? All right, every trench coat needs to be stopped. What classifies a trench coat? I have a coat that comes to mid-thigh. Is that a trench coat?
I would love this argument because technically, at that point, a lab coat can be used the same way as a trench coat could with the right equipment.
Kage needs to be searched at every con.
No, no, he would need to be searched anytime he comes on and off con floor. Could you imagine what would happen if the cockroach had to be searched every time he came off the elevator onto the con floor?
He'd stop going.
He
He'd
would
say,
close
screw this
down the
noise, I'm
fucking
making my own
convention.
con.
No, he would, if it became a thing of somehow he got overruled at Anthrocon and that became a mandatory thing at cons. Well, actually, no, even then, I don't think he could technically be overruled at Anthrocon for that kind of thing, could he?
It's
I think it's a possibility, but very unlikely.
yes and no is the answer.
Yeah.
If he disagreed vehemently enough, the board of directors would be forced to remove him as chairman. The chairman has to sign off on everything.
Yeah.
Which, if Kage is to be believed, he has resigned as chairman of Anthrocon every year since 1998. The problem is they wrote into the uh, articles of corporation that the chairman must either resign with majority board approval or be removed by the board.
So, in other words, he can't fucking resign because they won't let him.
Correct.
Ah, love it.
If anyone out there watches Kage's wine streams, there was one a couple months back where I legitimately had him draw for me his brain in a robot body because the board of directors wouldn't let him resign after death.
God damn it. By the way, you just linked yourself, essentially.
I guess.
I mean, not necessarily a bad
it's not like I
thing.
use a different name.
Oh, true. Not necessarily a... Well, people can't see your username here. But then again, Rick Hale is still a thing.
Kage reads out my name every wine stream.
Last wine stream, he read out mine, too.
And
I still find that funny as hell because the only reason he said my name was because of a comment I had said about Tien
long
Long.
bikinis, I believe.
No, Tien Long in a bikini.
Long bikinis.
No. I believe it was It became the hashtag noodlekini or something like that, or
Wow, that would
tienkini.
make sense.
But I mentioned that you've seen Tianlong in a speedo. Let's go for an upgrade and put him in a bikini. And apparently there was a vote on that. They asked the audience what they thought. Anyways,
We got a little off topic there.
little bit. Simply put, though, I actually brought all of that up to him as well. Of it would be going a little far to mandate checking all fat suits or all suits with foam that don't involve the head. And his response to me was literally, let me see if I can find it here.
Oh, he's got notes, people.
Frankly, it would just quote, frankly, it's in the rooms where they unsheath their weapons and security padding isn't enough lately. So in other words, he believes that there are these shadow organized, or this organization of shadow furries that follow you into the fucking room party floor for the sake of unsheathing some kind of bladed weapon to kill you, and that the only way to protect yourself is to carry a gun at a convention.
I would like to point out here the stupidity of this. Cons are roughly public events.
Mm-hmm.
The people in the areas know when cons are going on around them.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of hard to hide the 6-foot stuffed animals.
Even more so when the 6-foot stuffed animals beat somebody in the streets because they were beating their Uber driver.
Look, Barney had that Uber driver's back, all right?
It wasn't Barney. It was a pink.
It was a pink dinosaur.
It was a pink fluffy dinosaur plush suitor. So it wasn't just a fursuit. It was a literal 6-foot plushie.
Second off, they did not beat that man.
No, they beat his ass.
No, they tackled
clocked
him out of the car and sat on him.
No, he tried to fight. When he tried to fight, one of them clocked him and then sat on him saying, "Don't fucking make me do it again." I literally saw the fucking squad cars taking the dude off. If I had been there like 5 minutes earlier, I could have sat and watched the whole thing. I talked to the dude. I talked to that purple-ass dinosaur, dude. Or not purple, pink. That was at a convention we were at.
I'm aware.
Do you remember when we were walking to my nice 400-year-old bedroom?
Haunted as shit fucking hotel.
Yeah. When we saw like the 8 fucking squad cars near the entrance? The side entrance specifically?
Oh, you weren't there for the second time that happened.
No. It was the side entrance closest to the haunted ass.
I know where you're talking about. I know right where it was. I saw the video. I recognized across the street.
Yeah, the subway.
Yes.
That's another thing I want to go into, guys. If you think you're not going to be safe at a convention and you need a weapon, do understand this sort of thing happens. So there were a group of fursuiters that were sitting outside of a convention, and they happened to witness a person suddenly strike their Uber driver in the back of the head, ran over, yanked him out of the car, made certain that the driver was okay, put his ass to the ground, and sat on him until police arrived. Furries go out of their way to fucking make sure that people are safe around them. So what do you think is going to happen if you are in a room full of raver furs, or a room full of furries in general, and somebody pulls a gun? There's going to be 2 types of people in that I could probably separate just about everybody at a convention into. 1, run for the door. 2, tackle the motherfucker and beat him unconscious. That second group is going to be a lot larger than the first group.
A lot larger. I'll say larger. A lot larger might be a step too far.
I know way more furries that attend conventions that would be more afraid of somebody dying at a convention because someone didn't act to stop a shooter. Like, if somebody pulled out a gun, before they could even get the safety off, I know that there are way more furries that would likely tackle the dude to try and ensure the safety of other people than there would be people willing to just run away and save themselves. A majority of those people are people that would gladly become con security, which, I don't know if you know this, but cons actually have a lot of security.
If I recall correctly, they have a waiting list for their security detail.
Yes, fucking BLFC, a buddy of mine and Huskies and Glitches and I think FaZe, everybody in that group calls him Multipass. He is con security, has been con security for years. He's told me there is a waiting list of over 100 fucking names for con security.
The hilarious part about it is a non-zero number of people on that waiting list.
It's still a huge thing.
No. The people on that waiting list, some of them, they will wait on that list for years, and then when an opening opens up, they will be told no.
Yeah. That's
because cons are actually pretty good at finding the paranoid people.
Oh, God, yeah.
And they go, oh, no, we're not giving you any authority.
Yeah. They vet their security quite well, too. Another convention, kind of a convention horror story, but not. There was legitimately a time where same dude told me this particular story. A girl who was at the convention who was very drunk, the hotel security tried to escort her to a taxi to send her to her place to get her out of the convention area because they didn't want her making a scene. They weren't supposed to do that. Convention security, within 5 minutes before they could fully get her into the taxi, found out what happened, figured out who she was, figured out where they had taken her, figured out how to track where they had taken her, got to her, confronted security for the hotel, wound up getting a representative of the hotel, and got everything cleared up before they could even get her out of the door and into a taxi.
Several things about this particular story. Number one, notice he said it was hotel security.
Not convention security.
Hotels have security too, guys.
Uh-huh.
Just saying. Second off, the outcome of that, happily, they got her back up to her room and she slept it off. Everything was fine and dandy there.
Because she was literally staying in that hotel and they were trying to put her in a taxi when she was drunk. That wouldn't have ended well.
If I recall correctly, correct me if I am wrong here, Kit, that hotel security is now no longer allowed in con space.
Yeah, no. Hotel security at that convention, they now have apparently it written into their contract that hotel security is not to operate in con space without con security's permission.
Conventions take security a little more seriously than people give them credit for.
Very much so. Seriously, guys, if you want to really feel safe at a convention, you can do what I do. I have made friends with con security, with certain members of con security. Through them, I have managed to learn who con security members are by asking one simple question. You can actually do this without being friends with con security members. Just go up and ask, well, who all is security? How can I identify them if there's a problem? Ask that question at the security station at any convention. They'll tell you, oh, well, you can identify him this way. Every con has a way to identify the members of security for the convention. If you don't feel safe in crowds, find one of them. Con staff or con security usually makes up about 20 or 30 people minimum. and they're usually wandering around the entire convention.
Certain cons have way more than that.
I'm well
Yeah.
aware. If you're going, no, my point is, if you're going to the smaller cons, like a couple hundred people, you're still looking at probably like 10 or 15 members of staff are just security. The bigger ones, I'm guaranteeing they have more than 10 or 15 people. They probably have closer to 100.
Yeah.
Because realistically, when you're a convention that has an attendance of, what was the, what was it, 7 grand for BLFC, 10,000 for MFF?
I thought MFF was upwards of 12, but yeah, something like that.
10 plus. 10,000 plus.
I'll give you that one.
30 or 40 security ain't gonna do shit. If there's a problem, 10 or 20 people at a con that big ain't gonna mean shit. So realistically, the bigger cons usually have a very big number of security members on staff.
And we've gone over this before about conventions in general. It's one of those things that you should always be aware of at any con is how to get in contact with the security. Because most cons, if not all of them, I haven't been to every con. Sadly, my life has not taken me everywhere.
It's a standard, apparently, for a majority of them.
Print it on the back of the badge.
Yep.
And it's if you have any issue, call that number.
At bare minimum, the number that will be on there is for con ops. If there is no other number, you can still call con ops and say, we need security at this location now. And they will send whoever the fuck they have that's close.
Yeah. I mean, you got anything else to add into this? Because I think we've been going for just about an hour now.
We actually have about 15 minutes left, but if you want to make this one a short one, we can, and just do closing thoughts and closing statements.
Yeah, I'm asking. You got anything more to add?
And not really. No, other than something that's already been said, but if you're as paranoid as this individual, well, actually, no, correction. I have one other thing to state. This individual decided to go and, again, we're talking about the dude from the Discord server that got banned recently. Decided to go to a friend of his on a different platform because I had told him if that conversation came up between him and anyone on our platform again, it would lead to a ban. He brought it to a different platform and had somebody come and confront me about the fact that I was trying to, quote-unquote, curtail his speech.
All right, everyone, let's go ahead and go over the facts of this again. Number one, what this individual was doing was instructing people openly on how to circumvent
Convention
con security regulations. Number two, he was doing so in an open forum where people who are under the age of 18 can get to easily.
Yes. For those who don't know, our Discord server has a setup in it where, by default, nobody has access to the adults area of our server. You legitimately have to apply for access to that. This dude was not doing this in the adult area of the server. He was right out in the open in public in one of the basic areas you can get to.
So now ask yourselves, with the information you have been refreshed on now, why would we first off remove the conversation from the area it was in?
Hold
and
on.
number two,
I have to ask you something really quick. Did you have any number other than 2 in there? Or 1 and 2?
no, why?
Okay, so it wasn't your thing going fucky. It was just weird moments for you to stop. There's 2 go silent and then stop silence.
I went silent to see if you had anything to say.
Ah, okay, continue.
With the 2 pieces of information that we have just verified are the 2 pieces of information I have given you, why would we have, number 1, removed the conversation, number 2, told him, dude, you can't have that conversation there. We could give other details later, but why would we do that, Kit? Please tell me.
Well, for one, I'm not really a fan of telling kids that you need to bring a lethal weapon to a gathering. That doesn't really end well, especially when they think, oh, this might happen at school. And two, it's generally not appropriate.
Now, once again, there was no ban at this point.
No. It was we deleted the message, told him, don't bring this up again. If you do, then you'll be banned.
This individual then goes out of their way to contact someone else who, if I recall correctly, I'm slightly fuzzy on the details. I didn't get the messages you did. They didn't ask this other individual to contact you. The other individual just contacted you saying, hey, this guy's saying this about you. Would you mind expanding on it so I can hear both sides of the conversation?
Yes, which I should also point out, this individual decided to tell the person who came and talked to me about it some wildly fucking weird things, like I was trying to say that it wasn't a good idea to open carry or concealed carry ever.
As we said at the beginning.
Yeah.
The argument about open carry, concealed carry, where it is legal to do so, is not the argument we are having here.
Yeah, no. Equating somebody saying that this is not an appropriate conversation to be having here, and I'm going to be an authoritarian and say you can't do this ever. That's a massive leap. Oh yeah, it's worth mentioning that this guy also told the individual who came and addressed me that I was essentially telling him that that he couldn't speak to anyone about it in general, or he would be banned.
This is a subject that you and I do need to have a podcast on at some point.
What isn't appropriate to ban somebody on in a server?
More broad than that, because that conversation alone, we'd be at it for years.
A while,
but
yeah.
More broad than that, of the idea of community. Furry is a community. Within that community, there are sub-communities. And within those sub-communities, there are infinite other communities. It goes a very many layers deep. Discord servers are a community. A Discord server that exists primarily as a platform for fans of a YouTube channel to congregate and speak together on a wide range of topics, so long as they do not break the rules of said community. I don't feel that's the adequate place to have a conversation about open and concealed carry laws.
Yeah, not really.
I don't see it. I'm sorry. Second off, the fact that we had to react the way we did, which was, it, fortunately or unfortunately, however you look at it, I wasn't there for the initial conversation. I didn't actively help with deleting the conversation, but if I recall correctly, you said it was something like 50 messages between the people talking about it.
It was 50 messages between 3 people, and a majority of them were from the dude who was freaking out.
The initial action of deleting all of that and warning the individual, hey, don't have this type of conversation in this Discord. I don't even think it was that direct. I think it was in that chat.
Yeah. By the way, they were doing this in our gallery chat.
That's right. It was in Clean Gallery. I forgot about that little tidbit. Clean Gallery, for those of you who don't know,
that I'll mention in just a second, because it will probably make a make Fulf noises.
The Clean Gallery, for those who don't know, is a place for you to post clean, not safe for work, specifically safe for work art, and maybe a comment on it. You're not supposed to have a conversation in there. It's not the place for it. There's chat rooms.
Yep. The little tidbit I mentioned earlier, the guns and weapons at convention was only half of that conversation. The part of the conversation, the reason why we had to delete a stack of 50 instead of 30 comments is because about 20 of those comments were from him being openly sexual, or talking about rather an openly very graphic, very sexual thing that somehow spiraled to, well, I think I'm going to bring a gun to a convention.
I can make this leap in logic. I know how to make this leap. It's an impossible leap, but I can make it.
Huh.
Guns are entirely a metaphor for penises. Peni?
Peni, yeah. No, I mean, I could make another fucking impossible leap that wouldn't be quite as impossible as that.
Do go on.
Gun was a metaphor for condoms. Be safe, folks. If you're going to a convention for that reason, bring a condom. Maybe two. Maybe a couple boxes.
You don't even have to. Every convention I've ever gone to has had
gives them out like candy.
Has had the medical check drive up cart out front.
No, they also give away fucking condoms like candy. Quite literally.
Those medical trucks, you can walk up, they have a big punch bowl full of condoms.
Yeah.
And you just walk up and go, "Can I have some?" And they say, you don't even have to ask. They just go, "They're there for you. Go for it."
Yep. The last time I was at BLFC, or correction, no, FC. It was FC. I remember this one because it was as I was getting one of those bomb-ass street hot dogs. Somebody came up to me and offered me. Somebody came up and offered me what I thought was a lollipop, because lollipop stick, lollipop wrapper. Oh, it's nice and fluorescent green. It's clear. I can see through it. Then I look closer. It's a condom in a lollipop wrapper. They were literally handing out condoms like candy.
Once again, this isn't the conversation to be having right now. Guys, if you're going to a convention with the intention of having sex, be safe.
Very much so.
Use protection. Make sure everyone you're having fun with gets tested. Make sure everyone's clean. If you're going to participate actively with someone who you know is unclean, that's the worst way to say that.
It happens. Bug chasers are a thing.
I'm aware. It doesn't even have to be that.
I know.
Be aware of what you're getting yourself into. Don't be stupid.
Simply put, though, folks, if you want to bring protection to a convention, bring a condom, not a gun.
It's actually an excellent point, yeah.
I know, right? Also, another side note, if you're this paranoid and trying to go to a convention, please, for the love of fucking God, don't.
Yeah, just don't.
Because even if no one else around you causes a scene, if you are as paranoid as this individual, you are the one that's going to cause the fucking scene.
Yeah.
Anyways. Well, we are actually at time, so, anything else to say?
Weapons are tools. Unless you are trained in using them, you're just going to hurt yourself and possibly those around you. Yep. Don't be stupid.
Entirely agree with that statement. And with that, folks, this has been Kit and Rick, and bye-bye.
Doodles all.